The Avengers Age of Ultron is the second film in the Avengers continuity and also concludes Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, and directed by Joss Whedon. Now, Iron Man 3 explored Tony Stark's post-traumatic stress after nearly dying at the hands of the Chitauri, and the Avengers 2 carries on with that trauma, which prompts Tony into developing an artificial intelligence program in order to keep the Earth safe from another impending attack. Thus, Ultron is born. The only problem is things go horribly wrong. Ultron turns on his creators and threatens the existence of the human race. That's the most I can give in summary so as not to include too many spoilers, as there is just so much happening in the movie. In fact, the film opens with a bang, with the Avengers already in battle, which I liked seeing, as the previous movies already established all the characters. There's really no need to go into another introduction. With that being said, this is an incredibly busy movie. With so much happening and new characters being introduced, the film assumes you've watched previous Marvel movies, specifically Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and the film assumes you are clued up with your comic book lore. Although the whole movie does not require you having read the comics, there are a few things thrown in which will keep the avid readers entertained. Now, here's what I liked about the film. The movie is filled with glorious action, complete with amazing special effects and balanced with clever humor. There are some really cool fight scenes as well as visually stunning stunts. The trailer made it clear that there would be tension amongst the Avengers, which I thought would be rather tedious as it was done in the previous film. However, the tension is necessary and it balances the film out nicely. The actors have a really great chemistry together and this flows through beautifully on screen. It was also really cool to see different characters with different powers on screen this time. Besides the usual Avengers, the film also introduces Quicksilver, the Scarlet Witch, and the Vision, which also sets up the sequel entitled The Avengers Infinity Wars. Now, being a South African, I felt a sense of pride as I watched the Hulk tear down Johannesburg. Not only was it a great scene, it was also an important scene as it teases another character, the Black Panther, who will most likely get his movie in Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film is not without its flaws though. As I said, this is a busy movie, which means that some scenes do become a bit convoluted and difficult to follow, and sometimes it feels a bit hard to keep up. But these are far and few between. My biggest issue was with Ultron himself. The first trailer that came out a couple of months ago depicted Ultron as this genuinely creepy, nefarious being, and whilst his motives are rather sinister, the character himself seemed to lack that foreboding personality, which would have had the audience shivering in gleeful fear. Ultron claims to hate humanity, yet he comes across as almost too human, and in some cases he tries to be silly, which makes him look dim-witted. Yes, there is comedy in the film, but the comedy should have been left to the banter between the Avengers themselves and nowhere near the villain. Ultron also claims that he hates Tony Stark more than the other team members, yet the film does not give any specific reason as to why. In fact, halfway through the movie, I wondered if Ultron was really suited to be a villain in the Avengers, as he could have easily been the antagonist in a standalone Iron Man film, but these concerns were quelled during the final climactic scene, which required the involvement of the entire team. Now I know it sounds like I'm hating on Ultron. In reality, I'm not. Yes, he has his shortcomings, but he is still a decent foe, and he has some really evil plans up his sleeves. However, regardless of the flaws, this is still a great movie and is worthy to be watched by fans and even non-fans alike. The continuous action will keep you glued to the screen, which will make the running time of just over 2.5 hours feel like minutes. So, with that in mind, The Avengers Age of Ultron gets an assembled 7 out of 10. My name is David Braz, and thanks ever so much for watching. If you liked what you see and want to see more, then please like, subscribe, and share. And comments are always welcome. One thing worth mentioning. The film does not continue Marvel's tradition of including a post-credits scene. There is a mid-credits scene which appears after all the actors have been credited, but after that, there's no need to stay in the theater unless you really want to know about everyone who is involved in the production of the film.